Hello, surprise, surprise to my left ear. I'm Carrie Freeman, the writer, producer, director of My Left Ear, and I've been promising a video before I come back full-time in July, the beginning of July. So here it is. It's June 10th, 2024. This is new. So as you can see, I'm improving. I got a haircut last week. This is the first time I've, shown up with a haircut in a while, and I think she did a good job. It was a stranger I picked. She was so nice. And before I get into reading and sharing, I want to thank you because I received some donations through snail mail. I opened my mailbox and there were some envelopes I didn't recognize and they were odd, and so I don't want to out anybody, but Kathleen from Michigan received it. Love you, thank you. Judith, Oregon, thank you. Got a PayPal from someone right in my neighborhood on Dickens Street, my hood. Thank you. MM are the initials. And thank you to everybody who has contributed and helped me, continue to help me get through this very difficult time. So the other thing before I start is that I'm still offering these 50-minute sessions, phone sessions, without hypnosis, for talking, dealing with particular issues, runes reading, and you just email me. And all that information is below, and it's in the community section too. All right, so I started out with runes, because I haven't done runes in a long time. And I just asked the runes, what's the overall energy on Trump's situation? That's it, Trump's situation. I didn't get specific. See if I can read this. I didn't get specific. I forgot to enlarge the whole. Okay, let me enlarge this. Hold on. See, I'm out of it now. So I'm rusty. All right, so let's get this larger so I can read it. Let me go larger. Thank you for your patience. I'm rusty. All right, so overall rune energy on Trump's situation. And what I got was the three runes. The first rune is the rune of initiation. And this signals a major shift or breakthrough in the process of self-change. It's an 180-degree flip turn, and I think we can say that's correct. A complete transformation in attitude. And for some, the transformation is so radical that one cannot live their life in the ordinary way. Now, just so you know, if you're studying the runes, initiation, what I did was I looked at initiation from the standpoint of Donald Trump, and I extracted what I knew to be true. So initiation is not always sort of negative. That's what I want you to know. Then I got signals reversed. And the rune said, you may be concerned over what appears to be failed communication. That would be like a verdict. Or a lack of clarity over past history or in a present situation. That kind of sums it up, right? There is a sense of futility involved. You feel like there's a lot of wasted motion. He feels that. And all of this may overwhelm him. Let me just say it is overwhelming him. And then the final rune for this question about Trump's energy regarding the current situation, journey reversed. At this time, ruptures are more likely than reconciliations, and how he responds to this is up to him. The requirements of his growth may totally disrupt what he had intended. And my left ear went shooting through and went failure, failure, failure. So there was nothing positive about this rune reading about Trump's energy. And I will admit something to you. I played a little, well, I'll tell you this later. Now, there's something that happened this past week that made me very happy. And it has to do with Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin, who is a jerk and someone who I don't think is very smart. But all this last couple of years, they've been following him around, trying to find out about an envelope that he had passed on. And, oh, it was nothing. It was just something my aide gave me, blah, 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 blah. Well, a Milwaukee, Wisconsin, that's where he's from, newspaper uncovered recording of Ron and his assistant that they knew about delivering fake electors' information. He knew. Now, all this time is that wasn't it. I don't know anything about it. He's outed, and he's not going to be able to get out of this. Now, we don't know exactly where it's going. I think it's going to a grand jury. My left ear thinks he's going to be nailed by the grand jury. And then I also think he's a weak character, and he's going to fold like a beach chair, and he's going to name names. That's what I think. But I'm really happy that finally karma is catching up with Ron Johnson. He's an insurrectionist, and he has acted untouchable, and he's not untouchable. So, you know, one of the things I have enjoyed doing on my left ear is providing information, like pulling in information and sharing it with you. So this kind of tickled me. So if Trump wins, and he's not going to, but let's just play this game, all these people would be included, most likely, in his new cabinet. Listen to this. Bannon, a felon. Gates, a felon. Papadopoulos, felon. Navarro, felon. Stone, Roger Stone, felon. Manafort, felon. Flynn, felon. Cohen, felon. Now that's Michael Cohen. I should erase that because I think that's Michael Cohen. Brody, a felon. Weisselberg, a felon. Powell, a felon. Clark, a felon. Meadows, Eastman, Giuliani, felons. Cheesebro, felon. And now Trump, felon. So imagine, I mean, just to write a comedy here, although none of it's funny, that Trump gets in and his entire cabinet are felonious jerks. Criminals, the entire cabinet. It's wild, isn't it? Okay. Then, here's a list of the U.S. representatives who requested a pardon from Donald Trump before he became a felon. Marjorie Taylor Greene, of course, Andy Biggs, Matt Gaetz, Jim Jordan, Lauren Boebert, Mo Brooks, Paul Gosar, Scott Perry, Louis Gohmert. And is it one or two of these people are going to end up, Scott Perry's going to end up on the Foreign Intelligence Committee. It's just awful. The speaker just announced it, and he's going to be in big trouble one of these days. All right, now we're going to get into Justice Alito. This isn't perhaps as long as you're used to, but it's a taste, and I'm coming back. Justice Alito wrote a letter explaining his refusal to recuse on anything voting on January 6th, cases that may but this letter, which I don't have to read in front of you, may include false statements to Congress. Justice Alito may have made false statements to Congress. And he's getting into worse trouble because today there's a new article in Rolling Stone that's exploding. Alito is now on audio displaying his right-wing Christo-fascism agenda, saying that it's going to be either or, and he was caught bigly. We got to wait and see what's going to happen with that. I mean, that's not the place of a Supreme Court justice. It's totally political and religious too, unfortunately. So then about the flag that Alito got caught, or his wife flew upside down, which is an insurrectionist message. Alito's neighbor just lives a few houses away. In her first TV interview, she contradicts his account, Alito's account, and cites a police report and witnesses. She adds that Alito's security detail sometimes sits in front of her home, as if she was being intimidated, and it certainly sounds like she was being intimidated. There's no reason for his security detail to sit in front of the neighbor's home. And then on June 6th, on Lawrence O'Donnell's show, he's my favorite, for a former Alito clerk wrote a New York Times article, and she says, she's quoted, "I was aghast. Alito must recuse from Trump cases." And she's a former clerk of Alito. So there we go. So I asked the Runes, Alito, will Alito retire? I didn't ask whether he would recuse, but my left ear was feeling like the heat is so on him, and the light is so on him, that he might just choose to retire. He's that age. I think he's 76. I'm not sure. So I got journey reversed. And it says, at this time, ruptures are more likely than reconciliations. And how you respond is up to you, Judge Alito. The requirements of your growth, Justice, may totally disrupt what you had intended. And my left ear wrote, failure, failure. Then I got the rune of wholeness. So this is interesting. Our natures require wholeness, an impulse towards self-realization. It's a path he must follow. He can't, he won't, because he can't. I mean, he's angry and he's fixed. He may see fit to withdraw or retreat in the face of pressing situation, especially if events and people are demanding that he expend energy right now. And it advises, vanquish your refusal to let right action flow through you. I'm telling you, he will not. He is 100% angry, entitled, and resistant. And he's very, very right-wing. Well, then I have a grid, and I'm not going to bore you with all the names, but it's all the justice names who have accepted gifts and the amounts. And I will tell you that Alito is one of the larger recipients, $171,000. Scalia, $210,000. O'Connor, $35,000. But I'll tell you, Justice Thomas, Clarence Thomas, takes the cake at $4,000 and change. No, it's $4 million. What am I doing? And then it's even more, because after I printed this out, he came out with more. Now I'm looking at this and I'm wrong. I'm confused with what just came out in the news after this was printed, and what came out is that he just recently reported over $1 million. So this is $4,042, and I'm going to check on it because now I've confused myself. But all I can tell you is Justice Thomas has accepted the most of any of them. All right, and I apologize. So Thomas has been receiving massive amounts for the last 2 decades. All right. So I just want to let you know, for those who are not on Patreon, I have a Patreon already. I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm not going to do it today. But in that Patreon, I asked, will Hunter Biden be imprisoned? That's a tease for you. And I asked, will Trump be imprisoned for any length of time? And that's going to be on my Patreon tomorrow. And you know, you can join Patreon for $8 and you can quit at any time. So this is a little tease. And now I'm coming to the end, and I know I didn't cover everything, but I wanted to come back a little bit like the old days. So I had a good evidence thing, a synchronicity thing. In my book, Good Evidence, and you're not crazy, it's not out yet because it all got interrupted, but I have a section of Good Evidence that I call synchros, and that's when we have any kind of a synchronicity, could be like a psychic hit or something like that plays out. So I call it a synchro. So here I am. I don't need my glasses to tell you the story. I was at my physical therapy, which is going to continue through July. I still have a lot of work to do, even though I'm improved, as you can see. I was at PT, and I looked over at a woman next to me. She had this huge brace on her leg, and she was younger than me. And I said, if you don't mind me asking, you know, what happened? And she said, oh, I went skiing for the first time in my life, and I had this accident on my second ski lift. She said, my first day was great, and then I had this accident. So I was talking to my physical therapy doctor, and I said, yeah, you know what? I came out of a really mediocre production of Chicago at the Pantages Theater, and, you know, spilled onto the crosswalk, and my life hasn't been the same in 3 months. And so she says to me, she overhears me, and she says to me, what was the date of your accident? And I told her, and she goes, I was at the Pantages that night. And you're right, it was really mediocre. And I thought, that is hilarious. She was right next to me in the PT place, and she said it was mediocre. And then we got talking about how it sort of seemed like that Chicago, that show, that performance that was at the Pantages, seemed like kind of like a college production. And she agreed with me. So that was just a funny coincidence. Like, what are the odds on that she was at the Pantages on the night I had this spill? So that was interesting to me. Just thought the energy is all around, you know. So now I have my quotes, but I just thought of something to share with you. I also, this may matter to somebody, but I was thinking about what could I share with my Patreon people. I try to make it different than stuff I'm doing with my left ear, so they have something special. And it always changes, but I included my mother's brilliant brownie recipe because the other day I had such a desire for a brownie with walnuts that I pulled out my mother's recipe and I made it with both hands, and it was fantastic. These brownies are so good. I like them with walnuts, so I know some people are allergic to nuts. So that's part of the Patreon too, is the recipe. All right, now here we go. I've got 2 quotes. The first quote is by poet MLE Dickinson, and all she wrote was this: to live is so startling, it leaves little time for anything else. Isn't that delightful? To live. I want to add fully, but she didn't. To live is so startling, it leaves little time for anything else. So that means go live, because then you won't have time for the negative things. All right, now the second is by an American writer named Gail Godwin, and she wrote this in 1937. And it reminded me of, what just happened to me recently. Some things arrive on their own mysterious hour, on their own terms and not yours, to be seized or relinquished forever. And that reminds me of amor fati, the Latin phrase, and it reminded me of, my catastrophic accident, which is life-changing. And it was not on my terms at all. But I've seized it, and I've been learning a lot, and wanted to share that with you. So that's the little tidbit for today. We're at 20 minutes. I almost think it's better to do them a little shorter, because I know that I've made some videos that seem like they go on too long. So that's it. You know that I really will be back right at the beginning of July. Either it's going to be July 1st or it's going to be the day after 4th of July. But then I'll be back. And I'll just share with you that I know I present, with a lot of energy, but I want you to know that when I go to physical therapy, because they keep adding on the most difficult and painful exercises, that I come home and I sleep. I come home and I go to bed for 2 or 3 hours. So my energy is, limited right now. I went out for a long walk with a neighbor, and I came back and I was wiped out, and I literally went to bed. So, that's going on. So I'm just spacing out the conversations with clients right now, the sessions and all these things that I have to do. And I don't have a caretaker anymore, so I'm doing everything myself. And that's taken an adjustment. But it's good for me. It's bringing it back. And my PT doctor, Karina, who's fantastic, she tells me I'm her A+ student and I'm really doing great. But there's plenty I still can't do. And blah, 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 blah. I'll tell you more, but this is it for today. I actually have to leave for PT. Good to see you. Hope you enjoyed this. Keep an eye out. I'm coming back. Okay? And I thank you again. Thank you again. I have gotten more love and affection and concern from this community that chooses to subscribe to me more than some people that I've known for 15 and 20 years. It's very touching. It's a phenomenon, for me to connect with you and you to connect with me, and I love it. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.